I had been on Tinder for going on 5 years, and I found it to be a great way of hooking up without the added headaches of being in a committed relationship. Yet for all its fun, I learned the hard way that Tinder comes with many great risks. My name is Kevin, and it was around this time last year that my unabashed use of Tinder cost me 3 fingers, and nearly my life. Now to start, I'm what some of you might call a Chad, though I personally hate the term. It's not my fault that I was born with splendid genetics that blessed me with an impressive 6-foot height, square jawline, and chiseled abs. Owing to my incredibly good looks, I rank among that top percentage of guys most women swipe for on Tinder. And let's not forget the other thing women like in a man: money. In that department, too, I'm also fortunate. Again, I had no control over it. It's not my fault I'm heir to a respectable Miami real estate brokerage firm, the reins of which will pass on to me once my old man finally decides to retire to the Bahamas. I'm already part owner of the family business, pocketing a decent 6-figure income per year. That's not me bragging or anything, but I just wanted to put it out there that in addition to my good looks, I also have a nice-sized 401k portfolio to boot. I'm that 6-foot-tall, 6-figure earning 6-pack stud that most women drool over. That means I have an endless harem of ladies to choose from when it comes to dating. Or, shall I dare say, hooking up? I don't really do that whole committed relationship garbage. I'm not the nice guy type who wastes his time sending cautious messages to a bunch of online chicks in the faint hope that one of them gives me a pity date. I don't do that whole first base to home run work up to sex kind of deal. Nah, see, guys like me, we get to home run with the first swing of the bat. I hit it and quit it more often than not. There's hardly ever a second date, if you even want to call it that. If I see a chick I like on Tinder, I just swipe right on her profile. If there's a match, I'll hit her up with a simple, "Hey, what you doing tonight, beautiful? Want to come over?" And then go from there. I know that might seem unbelievable to many of you nice guys, but it's really true. A simple, straightforward message like that works for us so-called Chads. Now, sometimes if I really like a particular woman, that is, if her body's just right and she's crazy wild in bed, I might keep her around for a while longer until she starts giving me the whole going official vibe. At that point, I usually ghost her and move on to the next woman in my rotation. Now, I know that makes me sound like an asshole, and maybe I am an asshole for saying that, but hot and successful guys like me have all the options in the world. Why settle down for one boring woman when you can have them all? That's my philosophy anyway. So where does one go to find all these options? For me, it was Tinder. At my peak, I usually had hundreds of matches in my inbox at a given time. I didn't even need to message my matches first, usually. Most times, the ladies would just hit me up out of the blue asking if I was free to meet up that same night for an evening of casual you-know-what. It was through this manner that I first met her. I remember it vividly. It happened on a hot and sunny Miami afternoon in late June of last year. I had just gotten off a hard day of work, and for whatever reason, I had been feeling in the mood, if you know what I mean. Desiring a Friday night booty call, I spent a portion of the afternoon browsing through my sea of Tinder matches, looking for that one special lady. Then came that familiar sound. Sure enough, I had a new Tinder match. Curious, I tapped on the notification icon and nearly creamed my boxers when I saw her. She must have been either late 20s or early 30s from the looks of it. And a Latina! My absolute favorite. I have a particular thing for Latina ladies. No offense to all you beautiful black, brown, and white girls out there. Don't worry, I enjoy your company too, but Latinas just take the top. I don't know what it is. There's just something about the way Latina women are built. Perhaps it's the particular sway of their hips, the curve of their breasts, or their cute Spanish accents that turn me on. I'm looking at you, Ana de Armas. While this particular Latina hottie was no Ana de Armas, boy, was she a close second. She had medium-length dark hair, a sexy smile, and the nicest set of double D tits a heterosexual man could ask for. Large and sumptuous, her breasts drew my attention longer than what would have probably been appropriate if I had saw her walking the streets of Miami in public. "Goddamn," I muttered. And it wasn't just her tits that drew my gaze. Her eyes did a number on me too. She just had the cutest chestnut eyes, radiant, seductive, arousing. I immediately tapped on her pic, eager to see her profile. Her name was Kassandra, spelled with a K. According to her bio, she hailed from Ecuador and liked to travel. She did yoga, had a pet chihuahua, and enjoyed hiking. What is up with women and hiking? For some reason, I see that all the time on Tinder. Anyway, back to Kassandra. Her location showed her as being 15 miles away, meaning she was a local. Dirty, lustful, nasty thoughts polluted my mind as I imagined each and every way I wanted to ravage Kassandra. I knew instantly that she was the one. Tinder dinged again, drawing me out of my licentious contemplation. There was a new message in my inbox. It was, of course, from Kassandra. Damn, that was quick. But see, it's as I said. If they really liked a guy, women wasted no time messaging first. Kassandra's message read,
"Hola sexy, you're over cute as fuck. Just saying."
Equally smitten by her, I simply replied, "LOL, thanks." And I left it at that. Yeah, I know that response seems thoughtless and lame, but remember, I'm a Chad. I don't have to expend much effort to secure a midnight booty call off Tinder. Only nice guys have to go through the trouble of crafting an engaging comeback and crossing their fingers in hope of a response. If Kassandra was really into me, and I suspected she was, she would write back and continue the conversation. Lo and behold, she did just that.
Not much for words, huh? What you up to, cutie?
I typed back, "I'm just chilling in my man cave." Kassandra replied,
Damn, you're so cute. You have Insta? I wanna see more.
Insta is short for Instagram, in case some of you are not aware. In response, I wrote back, "First, I need proof that you're real and not a fake-ass Tinder bot." Which, truth be told, Tinder is crawling with tons of fake profiles and scammers. Hell, I was almost scammed once by some Indian guy in Bangladesh pretending to be a 22-year-old redhead from Ireland. Not to mention, women sometimes look 30 years older and 30 pounds heavier than what their profile picture suggested. I cannot begin to tell you how many times I went to hook up with a chick, only to find out that she had lied about her age and weight. To that end, I used a simple but effective test to weed out all the fakers. Kassandra asked,
What proof do you need?
I replied, "If you for real, Snapchat me a video selfie. Record yourself doing a sexy dance or some shit, and say my name so I know you ain't a bot or some perv in his mom's basement just trying to jerk me off. Then you can get my Insta, LOL." I gave her my Snapchat and waited. If Kassandra was indeed a real person, she'd be open to sending me a real video of herself. If she was a faker, well, this conversation was going to end real quick. A few minutes later, came the sound of a new notification, this time from Snapchat. I had a new video message from an @EcuadorBabe262. Intrigued, my heart raced with anticipation as I played the video in its full, sexy entirety.
Hi, Kevin. It's me, Kassandra. Is this enough for you?
Was that proof enough for me? Was she kidding? That was all the proof I needed. I made sure to save her cute video to my personal collection, just so I had it to look back on later. On Tinder, Kassandra messaged me and said,
Well, happy now, Kevin. Am I real enough for you?
I replied cutely, "You are one sexy mamacita, lol. You passed the test." Kassandra replied.
Oh, what grade did I earn?
I responded, "Oh, you get an A+ for sure. You get an A for awesome tits, haha, lol." Unashamed, I followed up with, "What size are you anyway, D cup?" Kassandra replied,
34 double D. You like?
"Hell yeah, I like. You got a cute accent too. Sexy. Where are you from, mamacita?"
Ecuador.
You live there still, or do you live in Miami?
I'm just visiting and staying at a friend's place for a few days.
To which I asked, "So when you flying out?"
The day after tomorrow, hopefully I get to see you before then, sexy American.
LOL, I replied, again keeping my responses lazy and brief. Kassandra followed up with,
You said you will give me your Insta if I sent a vid.
Seeing how she passed my test, I rewarded her with my Instagram link. My Instagram page was chock full of everything you might expect from a spoiled Romeo such as myself. Shirtless selfies, various vacation photos, my skydiving adventures, me posing with all sorts of zoo animals, etc. I had absolutely no qualms about posting my entire life for the world to see. I even had up pics of my pride and joy. A jet black brand new Corvette Stingray. Pictures of me cruising the streets of Miami in my Corvette tended to get the most Instagram likes for whatever reason. I had several thousand followers on my Instagram page with more than 1 million likes on my photos. And, just like my Tinder, my inbox brimmed to overflowing with messages from female admirers and would-be one-night stands, not to mention the occasional gold diggers. Of course, that was to be expected. I soon gained a new admirer to my page. She made her appreciation known by liking several of my photos and following me on Instagram. Back on Tinder, she wrote,
You drive a Corvette? Like, what kind is that?
I replied, It's a Stingray convertible, 3-liter engine, brand new, just bought it 2 months ago.
Don't tell me you have a Lambo too. Those are sexy.
Nope, just the Stingray for now. I'm saving up for a Lamb though. I half expected Kassandra to ask me what I did for a living. Most of the chicks I met were gold diggers after all. Not that I had a real problem with dating gold diggers. I still screwed them if they were hot enough, but I always made sure to ditch them fast before they found a way to siphon cash from my bank account. I couldn't tell if Kassandra was a gold digger or not, and honestly it didn't really matter. I only cared about hooking up with her for the night, maybe 2, and be done with it. Interestingly, Kassandra didn't ask me about my money or how I could afford such an expensive car. Instead, she wrote,
Nice. So when you're free to party, handsome, maybe you could pick me up in your Corvette?
I replied, How about tonight?
I can do tonight, but can you meet me at my friend's place? I don't really know Miami too well and might get lost if I have to come to where you live.
Having been to the homes of numerous women I met online, I didn't really have a problem going to her. After all, I was a pretty built guy and knew karate. I was pretty sure this cute Latina couldn't overpower me if crap for whatever reason were to hit the fan. I asked her, Where you staying? Text me your address. Kassandra texted me some address in Little Haiti, a rather seedy part of Miami. I should have seen that as the first red flag, but pumped up as I was with lust, I couldn't think clearly. All I could think about was how badly I wanted to blow Kassandra's back out. She then asked me,
What time you thinking of coming over?
I glanced at my Rolex. It was only 5 p.m. I figured I could be there in a half hour or so, depending on rush hour traffic. To be safe, I said, How does 6-ish sound, mamacita?
Sounds like a party.
I'll bring some bubbly champagne, lol.
and I'll bring the laundry. Ciao.
She sent me her digits, and that was the end of our Tinder conversation. About a half hour later, I was speeding through the streets of downtown Miami in my Corvette, zipping in and out of lanes and cutting people off without a care in the world. Yeah, I'm that guy. I guess having money and good looks makes one arrogant and carefree as fuck. Perhaps due to my aggressive driving, I arrived a tad earlier than expected at my destination, a small 2-story half-duplex located on the edge of a rundown cemetery in Little Haiti. From the outside, Kassandra's house didn't strike me as shady. Nothing about it set off any alarm bells. Sure, the exterior blue paint was chipping and cracked, and the burglar bars girding every single window of the home might have seemed odd, but this was Little Haiti after all. People had to take certain measures to protect their homes from break-ins. Aside from its rather poor location in one of Miami's less reputable neighborhoods, I wasn't getting any bad vibes about Kassandra's place. The lawn was well kept, the grass looked recently cut, there were no gang graffiti spray painted anywhere. Plus, I didn't see any shady mofos lingering around about. Feeling secure, I texted Kassandra to let her know that I was here. She texted back pretty fast and said,
I see you outside. Oh, and you brought the Corvette. Come to the front door, I'll let you in.
Smiling, I parked my car just outside her house, feeling rather safe leaving it there since it was a stick shift. Considering most people couldn't drive stick to save their lives, I wasn't too concerned about my sweet ride being stolen by some unscrupulous thief. 1 minute later, I found myself standing outside the dull brown door of apartment 69, barely able to contain my excitement. These Tinder booty calls were always fun. Drawing a deep breath, I readied my fist and announced my presence. The door swung open seconds later, and there, right in front of me, stood the sexy Latina from Tinder. Her impressive 34 double Ds spilled over the top of her cute black corset, and the high heels she wore resembled something only a stripper might don. Seeing her in such a sexy state sent blood rushing to you-know-where. Kassandra smiled when she saw me, gave me a loving hug, and purred,
Hi, Kevin. Good to see you. You're even cuter in person.
We kissed briefly on the lips, kissing each other hard and fierce as if we were long-lost lovers.
I love the taste of your lips, handsome American. Let's take this party back to my bedroom.
Kassandra whispered cutely, taking me by the hand. The thought of saying no never even crossed my mind. Without hesitation, I followed her inside for what I thought was going to be a really good night of wild passion. I scarcely made it a few steps before all of these expectations flew completely out the window. It came in the form of quick footsteps rushing up from behind. Startled, I spun around and caught sight of a deranged-looking Hispanic man coming at me with a baseball bat. The attack happened so fast, so sudden, that I didn't have time to process it before he clocked me square across the temple. Pain instantly assaulted me, followed by stars flashing across my vision. Ugh! I groaned in agony as I fell to my knees. Then everything went black. Sometime later, I didn't know how long, I slowly regained consciousness, only to find myself bleeding, gagged, and tied to a chair. I was completely naked save for a college ring on my finger. I had the mother of all headaches, and I could barely keep my blurred focus on the 3 individuals standing directly in front of me. One of them I recognized immediately as Kassandra. She wasn't wearing her sexy corset anymore, but was now dressed in a plain hoodie and jeans. She stood there holding what looked like a cattle prod of some kind, the type farmers use to herd their flock. Kassandra waved the thing about ominously. We locked eyes. Something about the way she looked at me came off as downright scary, almost evil. The other 2 individuals with her were both men. The one I recognized as a Hispanic guy who clocked me on the head with a baseball bat. The other guy was some mean-looking black dude who looked like he just got out of prison. Both men were tall and incredibly jacked, more so than me. The black guy sported various gang tattoos all over his arms. The Hispanic man's face bore ominous teardrop markings, a sign he had murdered people in the past. Both men stood on either side of Kassandra, as if her comrades in some twisted scheme. Kassandra waved her cattle prod this way and that way, drawing my attention to it. With a simple motion of her thumb and forefinger, she activated the device. Blue electricity snapped and crackled in response, hissing ominously and singeing the air. Without warning, without saying a word, Kassandra stepped forward and lowered the instrument to my naked groin, electrocuting me. Lightning coursed through every fiber and vein, inciting pain all over my body. I screamed in bloody agony and pissed myself, unable to control my bladder. The torture lasted for but a few seconds, though it felt like hours. Once she was satisfied, Kassandra pulled the prod away and laughed maniacally. Through agonized breaths, I murmured, Why are you doing this? Kassandra replied,
We know you got a lot of money, Kevin. We want you to wire us $500,000 or we kill you.
Shocked, I mumbled, What? To make her point crystal clear, Kassandra again jammed her cradle prod into my groin and shocked my manhood even longer this time. I again screamed at the top of my lungs. The pain was unbearable. I prayed to God someone in an adjacent apartment heard what was going on and alerted the cops. Kassandra yelled,
Don't play stupid with me, Kevin. Give us what we want or I'll fry you off your tiny American brick.
She continued to electrocute me, smiling throughout it all, relishing in my anguish. Kassandra was definitely a sadist of the highest degree. Unable to take it any longer, I yelled out at the top of my lungs and finally passed out from the pain. When I eventually came to the second time, I found myself floating in a bathtub, presumably in the bathroom of Kassandra's apartment. She was in there with me along with her 2 male cohorts. Her cattle prod was gone, but in its place was a large knife. Her 2 cohorts also had blades of their own. All 3 of them took sinister turns slicing and cutting me about my legs, back, and chest, stabbing me deep enough to draw blood and cause me pain, but not too deep to slice a major artery. I tried to fight back. I tried to defend myself, but as I was one helpless man against 3, and weakened from torture, I didn't stand a chance. But as punishment for my resistance, the Hispanic guy retrieved a small handgun from his waistband and viciously pistol-whipped me back into submission. Then Kassandra seized my left hand and, with her knife, hacked off 3 of my fingers, laughing as she did so. I bawled hard from the agony.
Pull that crap again, Kevin, and I'll cut off your...
I didn't stay conscious long enough to hear the rest of her threat. The pain of the mutilation was so intense, I passed out again, damn near dying this time. But Kassandra wouldn't let me die. While I was unconscious, she cauterized and bandaged up the severed stumps of my left hand in order to keep me from bleeding out. Then she brought me back from the brink with smelling salts. I really wish she hadn't. I would have preferred to die than experience this sheer hell. While her male cohorts held me in place, Kassandra readied my iPhone. She demanded my passcode, and I gave it to her. She spent a great deal of time going through my phone, perhaps looking through my pictures or trying to get into my banking apps. Eventually, she dialed up one of my contacts, and moments later, I heard my dad pick up on the other end. He said, "Hello? Hello? Kevin? Wait, who are you? What are you doing with my son's phone?" Kassandra angled the phone screen my way, and I saw my father looking back at me via FaceTime. His face recoiled in horror at my decrepit state. "Oh my God, Kevin," he said aghast. Kassandra said,
As you can see, we got your son. So, we want $1 million by tomorrow, or he's dead.
Kassandra then motioned to the black guy. He readied his knife. Kassandra said to my dad,
This is so you know we're not fucking around. Do it.
At her command, the black guy seized my right ear hard and with his knife, proceeded to hack it off, all while Kassandra filmed. Words cannot put into context how bad that hurt. It hurt so bad, I just couldn't bear it. Mercilessly, my mind gave out so I didn't have to. The last thing I experienced before everything went black was my dad's horrified screams. Time elapsed. I don't know how long. I thought for sure I was dead. I thought for sure I was about to meet my maker. But somehow, some way, death refused to claim me. Thus I came to again, ever so slowly. I was barely alive, barely aware of my name for that matter. My mouth was gagged and my eyes were blindfolded. I felt zip ties biting into my wrists, restraining my hands. My body was a shattered mess. I had been cut up, electrocuted, and beaten into a bloody pulp. Although I couldn't see anything through the thick blindfolds, I discerned I was tied up in the back of a moving vehicle, a stolen van, I would later come to find out. I could hear Kassandra and her 2 accomplices conversing in Spanish up front. They were yelling and arguing about something, though I couldn't make out what it was since I didn't speak Spanish. Kassandra yelled,
Don't hit one, run the red light!
The van sped up and weaved through traffic. Behind me, I heard the faint but welcome noise of police sirens. Kassandra cursed.
Fuck! Fuck!
I felt the vehicle veer off the road and tumble down a steep incline, eventually coming to a violent stop as it hit something. I smashed my head during the crash. Kassandra and her 2 cohorts quickly bailed, leaving me inside the wrecked vehicle. What followed was a vicious exchange of gunfire outside. And then silence. The next thing I remember was several police officers pulling me out of the van and helping me into an awaiting ambulance. I wasn't entirely sure if what was happening was really happening, or was I just imagining it? Was I really being rescued right now, or was my mind playing a cruel trick on me? I had only a few moments to ponder before everything went black again. When I finally awoke, this time for good, I found myself not tied up in Kassandra's apartment, but rather I was lying safe and sound in a hospital bed. My father was at my side. He looked so happy to see me, and I was so damn happy to see him too. He hugged me hard. I cried. From what my dad later explained, what ended up saving my life in the end was that ransom call. When Kassandra dialed my dad, she unknowingly gave away my ping location. The cops were able to trace my phone to her house and send in a rescue. Realizing the game was up, Kassandra and her cohorts tried to flee with me in the back of a stolen van. A police chase ensued. My captors tried to get away, but lost control of their vehicle and crashed into a light pole. In the ensuing firefight that followed, Kassandra was apprehended while her 2 cohorts were gunned down. I would later discover that this wasn't the first time Kassandra had pulled a deadly stunt like this. Prior to her arrest, she had been the leader of a small gang of thugs from Ecuador, who apparently earned a living by connecting with seemingly well-off American guys online and extorting them for money in a dating scheme known as a honey trap. I had foolishly stumbled into one of their deadly scams, and damn near lost my life because of it. For the love of God, people, be careful of who you meet online. Let this be a cautionary tale of the wise to anyone who uses Tinder, or any dating site for that matter. As I found out the hard way, hooking up with complete strangers without first vetting them is a surefire way of getting scammed, robbed, beat up, or worse.